Temporary Australians is proudly brought to you by Harley Davidson Australia, Fraser Motorcycles, Brotherhood CMC, Victory Motorcycles, the Australian Motorcycle Expo, Austrikes and Think Right.
Well, welcome to Temporary Australians. I'm Greg Hirst and I'm here with semi-famous Brendan Jones.
Sorry, semi-famous? I was just, see that media there, that's all for me, Greg.
I thought it was for the wall-to-wall ride. Anyway, we're here for this great ride going to Canberra. More on that later, and we should have a good show.
I just realised I don't have my licence.
This is the wrong place to admit that.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. It's my bike that's not registered.
Also coming up, we hit the road with 1,500 police riders in support of the annual wall-to-wall ride. We meet Salty and find out the meaning of life. We catch up with Keith Williams about motorcycle television. We look at last year's Melbourne protest ride. We find out about bikers who do it tough. State of Origin star Paul Gallen chooses his next bike. And we find out what Selena likes to ride. Well, we're here in the Domain in Sydney with the start of the wall-to-wall ride.
Indeed, Greg. A lot of people don't realise, like when you go to work each day, you don't imagine you're going to get shot. You don't imagine that your mates are going to get shot. But if you're a police officer in any of the force in Australia, that's a reality that could happen. So this helps people remember those who have passed away on the job.
Where we are at the moment is the Domain in Sydney, and over to my left is the New South Wales Police Memorial, where the names of dead police officers who were killed in the line of duty are inscribed on a granite wall. A really special place for the New South Wales Police. And what we do every year, we meet here, we have a service in the morning here, and then we head off to Gallen, where we meet police from all the rest of around Australia. And from there we ride into, in mass into Canberra to the National Police Memorial, where we have a very solemn service, and we celebrate the lives of our fallen colleagues, but we also raise awareness of safe motorcycling, and we like to raise a bit of money for Police Legacy while we're at it.
150 years in New South Wales, we've lost 251 of our police, and one this year. We lost Dave Rickson from Tamworth, who simply went to work on the highway patrol and was shot in the morning and deceased. We're going to add his name to the roll today in Canberra. So it is a sombre day, but this is also a day of celebration. It's a day where we can actually show that you can ride motorbikes responsibly, that you can come together as mates to remember mates, that you can raise a bit of money for the Police Legacy Fund, and you can generally go and renew old acquaintances and catch up with mates that you haven't seen for years, and probably make a new friend or two as well. So it's a day of celebration.
And what are you riding today, Commissioner?
I'm riding a service Yamaha.
I noticed the Premier Barry O'Farrell is here as well. And is this Kevlar? This is a Kevlar safety suit?
This is actually designed to protect me from not only the police but also from the rest of the community. No, look, Jonesy, I'm here to support what's a great initiative, and it's a reminder, as you said, of the risks that police take every day that they do the job on behalf of the community. So, this ride, as much as commemorating those who have fallen, should be about community renewing its respect and its commitment to responsibility, which would make the police job much easier.
Well, there's always space on the back of my bike, Mr. Premier.
I'm not sure your tyres will take it, mate.
It sure is a sight when you see 1,500 bikes going over the Harbour Bridge. Nathan Hindmarsh was there having a ball. There are lots of riders who are committed to motorcycling and who wear a uniform. But one thing's for sure, they come together for the wall-to-wall ride. Look, I've got to start by asking you about the badges that you're wearing. Bosman, tell us a story.
About 2006, there was a whole bunch of us went around Tassie, all on bikes and that. Some was running across from Melbourne by a boat, some was went down from Sydney by a boat. And one of the blokes we was with was a bloke called Pete, and he was Hungarian, and he was teaching the swear words in Hungarian. and the only one that stuck in our heads was Bosmeg. So every time we got lost in the crowd, we yell out, Bosmeg. And you hear Bosmeg over here and Bosmeg over there and that. So we'd find each other in a crowd. And when we got back, we thought, well, we all got pennies on our bike for good luck. So we got a badge made up in the shape of a penny, round, with the Australian kangaroo on it and Australia written on it, and Bosmeg over the top. And Bosmeg is Hungarian for FU.
I appreciate you being concerned about the sensibilities of my audience. That's just the abbreviation though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're out the back of the Darling Ranges and we've managed to find someone who clearly has no respect for Sons of Anarchy, Keith Williams.
How you doing, mate?
Mate, tell us about your T-shirt.
Well, it's quite simple actually. I saw it on a couple of internet things, and it's called the Sons of Arthritis because that's what we suffer from. When we get old, that's what we suffer from, mate.
Oh, I didn't know that, but I'll look for it.
Yeah, bugger. On the back, it's the ibuprofen chapter. So, yeah, it takes a couple of those now to get on a bike these days.
I think T-shirts like this appeal to the Aussie sense of humour, mate. I hope they get popular.
I think they do. I'm a pom as well, so there you go. I mean, I saw that and I thought, I have to have that.
Now, in your real life, you do a motorcycle television program out of Perth. You've done that for over 7 years now.
On Two Wheels just started for a passion about motorcycles, and there was nothing else on TV at the time. There was no one. I mean, now we've got yourself, we got us, and I think there's another one on the internet, but I think that's still about it. You know, I mean, how many car programs are there? There's thousands of car programs. You know, I mean, basically we're all like a poor version of Top Gear, really. That's what we are, a very poor version.
Extremely poor, I would think.
The response from bikers all over. Doesn't matter what code they are, what bikes they ride, they all have a passion, and it is just two wheels. That's the passion. There comes some now. Beautiful.
Yeah, I did notice.
Yeah, I tell you what, the one thing that was good driving the car, I managed to go quite slow a couple of times, and all the bikes went past, and the sound was outstanding, absolutely outstanding.
How have you managed to keep the ideas fresh, being over in Western Australia, which is isolated from a lot of the motorcycling community in Australia?
You saying we're boring?
No, I haven't even thought to say that. Let me rephrase it. Now, running a boring TV show like you...
It's not hard to keep it fresh because things keep coming to you. People keep coming to you and asking you things. Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, it's only about 2 series ago, we suddenly found out there's a guy in Western Australia who has the most Vincent motorcycles in the world.
That's an interesting bit of information none of us really have.
No, and it's a secret little place. It's a collection of his own, and it's superb. Well, you come across all sorts of people. We came across a bloke the other day who said, "Oh, you film about motorcycles, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I've got some motorcycles in my shed." And I went, "Oh, right, yeah, great." And I said, he said, "Oh, you know, they're everything from sort of 1950s upwards." I said, "How many bikes have you got?" He said, "About 300. I said, "First of all, how big's your bloody shed? It must be massive." And he said, "Oh, I just collect them. You know, some are good, some are bad. But these people are around. These people are around. And we tend to find them." There's some interesting people in the motorcycle world.
Damien, you had a very successful protest ride here after the MotoGP.
We sure did, and it sounded good, and I think it made a big impression on the city. We must have had about 450 bikes.
Well, it's a good sign if people are prepared to get on their bikes and come to these events, because there haven't been many protests in the last decade or so.
No, that's right. I don't know whether they've gone out of fashion or what's happened, but this one was basically just from demand, and to get 400 bikes on a working day, on a Monday, in the city is pretty good.
Now, this wasn't organised by any individual, was it? It was a grassroots event.
It started on a Facebook page, and people kept saying, "Oh, we should do this and we should do that," and it just gelled and came together, and out of that there's going to be another one.
Well, there were a number of groups that got involved, which were a bit of a surprise, especially the Scooter Federation.
They came out in force, and they're really quite forceful in their thinking about freedom and getting a fair go on the roads from the road authorities.
Let's say no to unfair discrimination against motorcyclists and scooterists, because together we can make a difference.
The passion on show there was clearly evident for all to see. John Voyage, a principal at Morris Blackburn Lawyers, addressed the crowd, and I think what we took away from that was this isn't just a silent majority anymore, and there's a real move to change the approach to motorcycling by legislators in this state.
I'm quite optimistic that there are some good people on this road safety committee, and maybe something good will come from it.
The collective strength of people coming together and voicing their concerns and having the forum to do that was a real eye-opener, and we were just delighted to be there. And every time we go to these events, we just learn so much more that, well, makes us better in the work that we do, not just as lawyers, but as advocates for motorcyclists too.
Tell us about that commercial that made you quite famous, I thought.
Famous or infamous, I'm not real sure about that one. Kit Kat ad, I did the Kit Kat ad a couple of years ago. I don't know how, I just sort of landed at my feet, and they said they wanted a rough looking ad, and apparently I fit the bill. And mate, 12.5 grand later, sweet as a nut.
I was going to ask if a lot of your mates come up and said, oh, we saw you on telly.
Yeah, I got a ribbon over it, yeah. All my mates are, all comedians.
Ever since I've been riding, there's been a thing about bikers hanging out near the beach. Well, I've had enough of that. I want a bike and I want to take my surfboard on it. But what can I do about it? Isabel, can you help me?
Yes, I think I can. If you look over here, we've actually got a surfboard on a bike.
I would never have guessed.
It came about because we've sponsored Surfing Australia event in Port Macquarie last year. It's all about communicating the benefits of Harley Davidson to the surfing community, which is all about adventure and having fun.
So tell us about the bike.
The bike's a 72. It has a custom candy, and we've matched the candy on the board as well, and that's a 72 logo there.
Now, my wife's always saying that basic black is boring. Is there anything else I can look at, Isabel, that's going to interest her?
A little bit of bling. We've accessorised this one. It's actually a custom paint you can buy direct from factory.
I got to admit, I haven't seen anything like it anywhere before.
Yes, it is fantastic, isn't it?
Another great innovation from Harley Davidson at this year's show is a brand new Harley and a girl.
Yes, well, I don't come with a bike, but you can ask for this amazing fleck paint job, which is called Candy Apple Red. Basically, it just highlights what you can accessorise a bike straight from factory.
The 3 bikes that we've seen, are they proving popular because of their paintwork?
Absolutely. It's one of the things that make them quite different and stand out, and it's all about customising as well.
So really the bike's the attraction, not the surfboard and the company.
That's right. It's all about the ride, yes.
Been riding since I was 3, motocross, but then moved into road bikes when I hit 40. So I've been riding now. If I tell you how old I am. No, I've been riding
23 years, I think. Is that right?
I've been riding road bikes for about 3 years.
Tell us about the bike you're riding now.
I've actually just got it. It's a brand new Suzuki Boulevard 1800. It's a limited edition, weighs 350 kilos, and I love it. It's a beautiful bike to ride, very nice.
And the longest ride you've taken it on?
Rode for 6 hours up to Foster. We sat on around about 140 k's. Beautiful ride, loved it, loved every moment of it.
Would you recommend this particular bike for women riders?
Yes, I would. The weight can be a little bit daunting, especially like parking the bike. I have to be very, very cautious of where I put it. The slightest little bend, hill in the road. Obviously there's no reversing bikes, so just have to be very careful. But otherwise, yeah, I would.
Sometimes life can be tough and the consequences are life-changing.
Yeah, I don't know whether you motorbikers have ever heard the statement, I didn't see you. Well, that's what happened to me. A 10-tonne Isuzu truck decided to not give way and hit me dead on the square, T-boned me, and it made a bit of a mess of me.
I learned and discovered that my mother's boyfriend had shot someone dead in our living room just the night before, and I slept through the whole thing, thank goodness. But unfortunately for my brother and my favorite dog Buddy, a week later the family of the gentleman who was slain decided to torch our house in retaliation, and so my brother and my dog died in the midst of that.
I was pulling out of a driveway leaving work and ended up running up the back of a parked car that was obscured by a car that pulled out from in front of me really quickly. So Did a bit of damage to myself, wrote the car off, wrote my bike off, and spent a bit of time in hospital.
I had 2 bouts of cancer. My mum died of cancer, and then last year my dad passed away from cancer, and so it was probably a bit of a rough couple of 10 years.
Sometimes they find a way to get through it.
I don't believe that my ankle would have healed without a lot of people praying for me. The ankle itself was going to be touch and go. There was 3 arteries left attached to the bone, and the doctor was really surprised when I realised that it actually picked up a blood supply and it actually started to heal.
When you come face to face with death, it shakes you around a bit. But if you have a relationship with God, then you have a sense of hope that this is not the end.
All of the different trials and challenges that I've sort of faced in life, there's that, I wouldn't say confidence, but at least that assurance of knowing that I'm being cared for, and he has certainly proved to be there time and time and time again.
Hang the expense, give the canary another seat, and it's only an inconvenience at the end of the day.
Are you able to ride still?
I ride a 1500cc Kawasaki with a sidecar. I love it. People think I'm a bit crazy in some of the antics I do, but I love it because it's great.
You meet the nicest people buying a motorcycle, and no one comes nicer than this man. He's an NRL superstar. We could talk to him about the future of NRL and how great he is as the Blues captain or representative football. We could do all that. Or we could talk to Gallen about Harley Davidson motorcycles. Hello, Paul.
Hey, how you going?
I'm doing all right, mate. So look, you're looking here. We've got a wealth of motorcycles around you. What's your history with bikes?
Oh, look, I've always loved bikes my whole life, really, and unfortunately couldn't have any as a kid. I eventually saved enough money to get myself a trail bike in my teenage years, and had trail bikes throughout my teenage years, and finally saved enough money to get myself a Harley Davidson in about probably 2005. And I bought myself a V-Rod, and unfortunately didn't have a garage to keep it in, so we kept it in the lounge room. But then I had a couple of kids, and the missus asked me to get rid of the bike, so got rid of that 2 or 3 years ago, and now bought a house with a garage. Now I'm looking for a bike again, so I'm here doing my best.
So you're back in the shop. What are we looking at? We've got the black line here, which just looks spectacular. We love the flames on the tank. This has caught your eye?
This is the one. I think this is the one I'm going to take. It's I come in here a few weeks ago and saw the black line and really fell in love with it. Really liked it, and to come back tonight to spot this one tonight. And the boys said it's available. I think this is the one I'm going to take home.
You know what it's like? Have you seen Avatar?
I've seen Avatar.
You know, like when they ride those bird things,
yeah.
It's got to choose you, man.
Just choose,
so you
yeah.
got to now wrestle that thing. Does it choose Paul Gallen?
I'm feeling it. I think it feels good.
You can join Ponytails. Paul Gallen, this is you, mate. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This year, 1,500 riders have made the trip from Sydney to Goulburn to commemorate the fallen.
It's a great day out on the road. 1,500 bikes pulled into Goulburn to have lunch and hear a few more words from the Police Commissioner, Andrew Scipione.
I would hope that the meaning of what's happened here isn't lost on anyone.
Riding down from the War Memorial towards Parliament House was certainly a sight. Bikes filling up the road, locals coming out to cheer them on, and I have to tell you, it took ages to park them.
Welcome to a beautiful Canberra afternoon. It's my pleasure today to take you through what will be a very moving memorial. Think about our colleagues who we lost. Think about friends who are not with us anymore. But most of all, think about those who we lost in service.
This is the 3rd year we're gathered here, and this has become such a special place for all police officers across Australia. As you'll see behind me, there's 750 touchstones that have names on them, and those officers paid the ultimate sacrifice for their communities. In the next 2 weeks, we'll see 4 more touchstones added to this memorial.
The Lord is my shepherd, therefore can I lack nothing. He will make me lie down in green pastures and lead me beside still waters.
I did a story tonight based on this ride, and my last line in the story was, the spirit of the policemen and women who actually go to work every day and they could lose their lives. I think a lot of people forget, you know, they look at the coppers and they think, oh yeah, cops are going to pull us over and book us and all that sort of stuff. But you think about the work they do and where would we be if they weren't there? It'd be chaos.
We're at the tail end of the wall-to-wall ride and we've got Mick Corby again. Mick, are you happy the way the weekend's gone?
Oh look, it's been sensational. The ride in from Gallen yesterday especially, we had over 1,500 bikes. Riding down Anzac Parade in Canberra was absolutely magnificent. And even the service and everything else went really well last night. So I think it's an overwhelming success this year. And look, it gets bigger and better every year and more people coming to it. Raises awareness of a whole range of things, police legacy and motorcycle safety and all things like that. And to me, the whole weekend was a success.
Well, we're at the tail of the wall-to-wall ride at Canberra, their trade display on Sunday morning. Jonesy, did you enjoy the ride?
Well, Greg, I'm going to run that down to forensic. I'll see you later, big fella.
Will do, mate.